Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Silver Fang. This is going to be published by Bezier Games, and it's going to be played up to 4 players. In this game, you're going to be trying to expel werewolves out of your village and have the safest village by the end of the game. This game here is going to be part of the Silver Line, so there's going to be a lot of other versions of this that have their own theme, or basically style of play with the theme, and they can be mixed and matched. So you can replace the ones out of one with the ones with this one, and you could have infinite replayability basically with these different versions of Silver. But we're going to be specifically looking at Silver Fang. Let's go ahead down to the table here. I'm going to show you what's in this and how to play it, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Alright, so this is Silver Fang, and this is going to be in the Silver Line, and there's a lot of different Silver games out there. And what this does is it's going to have a set of cards that are unique per grouping. So this Silver Fang has cards unique to all the other Silver Card Line cards. So you're going to get a deck of cards. You're going to get this score sheet that you're going to use to total up your score here. And you're going to play over these rounds here, and the person with the least amount of points at the end of the 4th round will win the game. So how do you do this game? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set up these cards here. You're going to shuffle up this deck, and you're going to deal out 5 cards to each player. Now, you're always going to account for there being 4 players. So if there are less than 4 players playing, you're going to discard that many cards. So if we're playing with 2 players here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to discard 10 cards. So 5 per player there. Each player is going to get a player reference card, and we're going to flip over the first card of the deck here to start the game. And we're going to place this Fang out here, which gives you an ability. Each of these silver lines has a little token that can do cool things in here. So this player guide can help you out, because this is going to tell you what the Fang icon does, tells you how the scoring works, and it tells you what you can do on your turn. And that's going to be what you're going to do for the setup portion. Now, before the game starts, 2 things are going to be determined. You're going to determine the first player, and you're going to take a look at 2 of your cards. So at the start of the first round here, you're going to randomly choose a starting player, or you roll a die, you can do whatever you want. Someone needs to be the first player. Then once that's determined, each player gets to look at 2 of their cards. So you can't rearrange it, you're just going to look at 2 of them. So I know that's 11, and this is 11. Wow, okay. So I know I have 2 11s there, and that's it. And I can't look at them again, so I'm going to try to remember that. Now, what you're going to be trying to do is you're going to be trying to remove cards or reduce cards values in your tableau here. Each of these cards has a number on the top. In this set, I believe it goes 0 to 13. And this is the sum of werewolves that are in your area. So I have 10 here. And you're going to add up all of these cards together, their values, and that's how many werewolves that you have in your area. And what you're trying to do is have the safest site, so you're going to be trying to reduce that number and have the lowest number. If you can, by over 4 rounds, and you have the lowest number overall at the end of the game, you win the game. Now, there's some things you want to aim for. In this game, if you're going to do a challenge, which I'll tell you how to do in a little bit, and you say that you have the least amount of cards, or not cards, least amount of points in your area, and you're correct, you will actually score 0 points for that round, which is awesome. However, if you're wrong, you're going to score the sum of your cards plus 10. So let's get into what you're going to do, and we're going to get into those interactions here too, and what all these different cards do. So on your turn, you can draw a card from the deck, or you can take a card from the discard pile, or you can call for a vote. All right. So How does this work? Well, I could draw a card from the top of the deck. Now, if I draw a card from the top of the deck here, I can exchange it face down for one of my cards in my tableau, and then I would take that card and place it face up. Or I can discard a card for its ability. In this case, I can immediately score all the face-up cards. So I can just score I can just basically just end my round and score what I have. So that is a good option to do later in the game. Or I can just discard the card. But if I discard the card, I can use the ability. If I discard the card, I can just discard it. So there's a lot of different abilities that you can have. Like here's a 12. Exchange any one of your cards with the same number of cards from any other village. So that's pretty cool, where I can shake things up. We also have this one, skip the next player's turn, so sort of like a skippo. We have the 10 here. Start a new discard pile. Discard one card from any village to it, which is neat. So you can have two different discard piles. 9, view and reorder the top of the 4 cards of the deck. We have the view face down card, one at a time in one village until you find a card to turn face up. All right, we also have this one here. View all face down cards in any village, then remove them left to right, or then rearrange them. I'm sorry, not remove. Rearrange them left to right, low to high. So now everybody knows basically how that person's set up. We also have turn over one card in each village. Then we have keep this card face up and add your exchange discards to any other village, which is pretty cool. All right. So there's going to be a ability in all the cards here. We're going to go down to 4 now. When face up, view one deck card before you choose a card. Okay. And then we have when face up, use any face up ability of a card in any other village, which is really cool. And then we have when face up, turn any card face up. And then we have when face up, choose from the top 3 cards in the discard pile instead of just the topmost. All right, so we went over the cards, and I want to do a clarification here. So the ones that play when you discard have this symbol right here. These cards actually play inside, have abilities that trigger inside of your own village. So that has a symbol down here. So you notice that when we get up here, we get all the way to 5. 5 and up are cards that play when they're discarded. And 4, 3, 2, and 1, the lower value cards, are cards that have abilities that are in your village. So that was just the one action. So again, to recap, since we did a little segue into what those cards are, you can, on your turn, draw a card, and you can do one of 2 things with it. This is a really good card. This is 0. When face up, at scoring, odd cards and their effects do not count towards your score, which is pretty cool. Okay, so this is 0. I can play this, discard this card. It doesn't have an ability that I can use, but it has an end game scoring ability down here on the bottom. Or I can, which I want to do, place this card in my village and discard one card from my village. So I got rid of that 11. All right. Well, what's the other thing they can do? Well, on this player's turn, they can grab a card from the discard, so they can exchange it with one of their cards in their tableau here. But what they can do is really cool. So let's see what they have in their hand. So we'll do a little cheating. So they have these 2 4s. So what they can do is they can exchange that card with one or more. I want to get rid of some cards, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get this one from here and exchange it. I'm going to exchange it with these 2 cards. So I'm going to push those cards forward. Then I will have to flip the cards, and they do match. And then I get to discard them, and I put this one face up in my tableau. If they didn't match, I don't get to get rid of the cards I was trying to exchange with. I keep them, and I still get this card. So it actually adds to your village, which is bad. Now, those are the two primary actions that you're going to be doing during your turns for most of the game. You're going to be drawing from the draw pile or trying to get cards from the discard pile, and you're going to be trying to thin down your cards. Well, one thing you can do once you're ready to go is you can call for a vote. If you have 4 or fewer cards, so you have to have 4 or less cards, you can call for a vote. If you call for a vote, that's your entire turn. So if I get to, let's say we're at this state of the game here. Which one's I have a 0 here. So I know I'm pretty good. And I see that 11 there. I'm going to call for a vote. All right, so this player here gets, and every other player gets one more turn. Once we're done with that, then we're going to flip over all the cards and we're going to do scoring. So that's you have some abilities that occur and stuff like that, but you're going to add up your points here. And the person with the lowest amount of points is going to sort of be the winner for that. But you're looking to see who did the call for vote. And if the person that did the call for vote has the lowest score, in this case, we're not going to count abilities or anything. We're going to say, we're going to do 21, and this player has 25. So they were right. So this player scores 0, which is awesome. However, if they were wrong, so let's say this was what it was, and now we know that this player has the lowest and not the person that called for the vote. This person adds up their total and adds 10 to it and writes that down. All right, so there's a couple more things here. The round can also end if the deck becomes depleted. So if we run out of this deck here, the round will also end, and then you just add up your points. There's no one that called for a vote, so you just add up your points and add them for that round on your score sheet here. So you'll add them up for the run round here, and then we'll be able to go on to the next round. Well, there's a couple things that happen. You have the Silver Fang. And that gives you some abilities here. So on the back of your card here, you can see the Fang icon information here. But what does the Fang do? So at the end of the round, you're going to place the Silver Fang out in the middle of the table on the side of the deck nearest the player who scored the fewest points in the current round. If that player successfully called for a vote, that they place the Silver Fang pointing towards them, just under the space for the next discard pile. So you would shuffle all this back up, and we'd have a new discard pile. And let's say I won this round, so it would be the Fang would be pointing towards me. This indicates the player may use the Silver Fang to choose cards from the discard pile, from that discard pile in the next round. Okay, so if the call was unsuccessful and there is a tie for the lowest score, or the person with the lowest score this would actually point towards, the tie player who had the Silver Fang during the round keeps it and points it towards them near the cards. If the player with the Silver Fang did not score the fewest points in the current round, the tied player who's closest to that start player's left places the Silver Fang pointing to them. Now, what does this Silver Fang do? I know I mentioned a discard pile that you get to use personally. If you have the Silver Fang as a result of successfully calling for a vote or being the lowest in there, you're going to place it next to the discard pile, with the point facing towards that player. It creates a new discard pile that anyone may discard to. So anyone can discard to this pile, but only that player who has the Silver Fang pointing to it can use it. So they're the only ones that can take cards from it. And that's the advantage of the Fang token between the different rounds here. So the game's going to end after the 4th round, and the player with the fewest points is going to win. In case of a tie player who has the Silver Fang wins. If the player with the Silver Fang is not tied to win, the tie player closest to the left of the player with the Silver Fang wins the game. Now, a couple things I want to mention here is you can combine decks. Now, you notice these have like 0 through 13 on here. You can combine several decks to customize games, replace all cards of one number with the number that you replace them with, so the same number. So you can replace the 1s, the 2s, the whatever with cards in here. And as you get more silver decks, you can have like an infinite variety of different games with an infinite amount of feels. You can even replace out these tokens, so you can use the tokens from the different sets there, so you can have a lot of different variations of this game. So there's a lot of replayability with this game itself. Now, one thing I wanted to note, which we're not going to really get into, you have team versions, and that will change the dynamic of the game also. So in team versions, you're basically going to be sharing your score with another player there. So there's the base game is what you're going to need to learn how the game works, and there's a couple exceptions in the team version, but either way, this is going to be how you play Silver Fang. All right, and again, that's going to be how you're going to play Silver Fang. Let's go ahead back up the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this game. All right, so that was Silver Fang. Now, Silver Fang is again in the silver line there, so if you love the silver line games here, this game is going to be no-brainer. Just pick it up because it gives you more replayability and it's a lot of fun. If you've never played any of the silver line games, this is a fine entry point if you liked what you saw in the how to play. So this is going to be a lightweight game. It's going to be great for playing with family and friends and taking on vacation and stuff, and it doesn't take very long to teach or play. So those are really great positives with this. This is a game that you can be engaged with, but you don't have to, spend your whole evening playing if you don't want to. You could just play one game or multiple if you want. But either way, the component quality in this game is great. Really, the nice metal Fang in this is just phenomenal, and the card quality is great, just like any of the other Bezier games. This box here looks like it can hold pretty much every other version of Silver. I also have Silver Eye, and it's the same way, so that's pretty cool too. So you could mix and match and fit everything into one box, and have just so much replayability. The one thing, let me see if I'm correct on this, the one thing I did wish they did is, yeah, they have the little Fang mark down here on the bottom, so you can separate them out. But I sort of wish it was a little more pronounced, but that is a super minor nitpick on the game. Because it's when I mix these with the other sets, some of them are like pretty much look like they're part of the line, so they're a little harder to sort back out. But that's it. Like literally, this is a great game. This game here, I see playing a lot with my family, and it's going in my collection, and not a lot of games do, especially lighter games like this don't normally make it in, but they did a really good job with this game. But that's my thoughts on Silver Fang. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out a lot, helps us get more content and all that fun stuff. But either way, I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for watching.